So today we're going to use, if you have it, a couple of yoga blocks. Now, if you don't have yoga blocks, for what we're going to do, you might be able to use a foam roller, or you might be able to use just some blankets and pillows. Okay, so yoga blocks, blanket and pillows, chair and or wall. Okay, and a couple of balls. So I've got these yoga tune-up balls that I highly recommend, and you can buy them online. However, you could use a couple of tennis balls, dryer balls, and if you're doing that, the way we're going to use them today is we're going to use them in this little bag. So you might want to put them in a sock, like kind of a sock that's a little bit snug that you can squeeze them into. All right, if you don't have this kind of setup. And if you don't have this stuff, I'm going to show you some other ideas. All right, so let's start in a chest opener. And with the blocks, and we do this a lot, so I know a lot of you know this, but with the blocks, we take one of them on either the medium or the low height. That one goes behind the upper back, kind of across the shoulder blades, and then the other one goes taller than that one, and you'll have to decide how tall based on what you like, what feels good to you. So for me, I like medium and tall, and then I lie back, I keep my knees bent. You might decide you want to straighten your legs. And like this, for me, is a pretty big opening today. I have not done this today. So I might decide to lower my blocks down, right? So it's not too intense. So just assess, try to get settled and assess yourself. Another option would be to use a rolled up blanket and put that across your upper back, and then another pillow or blanket or block behind your head. And this is so nice and soft. This can be really nice. In fact, I'm going to keep it like this. So maybe just taking a couple of sides here. Legs can be bent or straight. And maybe beginning by getting settled, of course, and then noticing all the places where your body is making contact with your props and with the floor. And as you do this, let's consciously try to come out of our heads and come into our bodies more with our awareness. So to do that, you can feel yourself or try to invite yourself to let go of effort and relax onto the floor below you, almost like you're sinking down onto your props. You could also imagine that you're taking a little elevator ride from your head, from your brain, all the way downward into the rest of your body with your attention. And now could you soften your tongue and soften your jaw? And soften behind your eyes. And if you want to, you could start to breathe a little bit longer on your exhale. So you might inhale through your nose, and then out your mouth. And then you could settle into a more natural breath in and out through your nose. And so this position here, with our chest slightly lifted, relative to our shoulders and our neck supported. It's helpful to counteract all the work we do with our arms in front of us, right? So whether you've been cooking for the holidays or some of you work with your hands in various ways, whether it's on the computer, sewing, anything that you do in front of you, everything gets tight in the front, right? So this is counteracting that and allowing the front of the chest to open and the shoulders to open slightly. Good. A couple more breaths there, maybe even trying to get your breath into your rib cage. Good, and now let's just roll to your side. If you're on the 2 blocks, you might just put your arms down, tuck your chin, and press up. And what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a few options. For this one, you might want something firmer. So for those with blocks, you can just leave the block, but you might like it taller. So for example, this is what I would do if I was using the block. I would put it on my upper back and put my hands behind my head. And I'm going to be opening on the inhale with my elbows, and on the exhale, just letting my ribs come down and come up, okay? So that's an option with the block. If you have a foam roller, and I do recommend getting one of these too. It doesn't have to be a long one, it can be a short one. These are great. You could use this and do the same thing, and I like the foam roller even better for this little exercise. But say you have neither of those things, what you could use is just your firm rolled up towel. So you could take 2 towels, or if you have a yoga blanket, you could use that, and you want to make it kind of really firm, big roll. And you try the same thing. Oh yeah, that feels great too. Okay, so there are always options to use things around your house. While all the little fun equipment can be helpful, it's not necessary. Good, so every inhale, what we're doing is supporting the skull as we widen the elbows, as kind of open up, and hopefully you're getting a little bit of a massage there on your upper back. And what I like to do is even curve side to side, and I'll show that sitting up. So like this on whatever I'm using. And you can make this your own. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You're basically trying to open up that upper back more. There's another area from rounding forward gets really tight. And some of you were talking about like this, the vertebrae C7 that's at the very bottom of the neck where it meets the upper back there. That gets sore sometimes, and that can be from a lot of this kind of posture. Could be other stuff too, but that could be one reason. Okay, so you're still opening on the inhale, and on the exhale, can you start to notice that in order to lift up, your front ribs are moving down, and there might just be a slight engagement in the belly. If you don't have your knees bent, bend them, because you'll be able to feel that core engagement probably a little easier if you do. Good. Now next time you come up, let's go ahead and either roll to your side or use your arms to help come up. And just pause for a moment seated, okay? You can sit however you want with your legs. And notice how your shoulders feel. Notice how your breath feels. Okay, now we're going to inhale, sit up tall as though you're holding something on the top of your head. And then as you exhale, I'm going to mirror you guys. Let's take your head down to your right. Okay. Now from here, let's take the right hand and put it on the head, but not to stretch it further, just for support. So you're just putting your hand there, not stretching it, okay? And then from here, could we take the eyes to look up to the upper left corner, and we're just going to be here for about 30 seconds. Of course, you can blink, okay? Just breathe calmly and keep your eyes looking to the upper left. You can let your left arm hang down. You could always move your chin to where it feels best. Okay, notice if you tend to take your eyes away, and then when you're ready, bring that right hand to the right side of your head and just gently bring it back up to center. Release the arms for a moment. Inhale and exhale. Good, and then inhale up tall and exhale a gentle lean to the other side. Down to the left. Left hand comes up. Good. Again, not to stretch it, but just to support it. Eyes are going to look up to the upper right and breathe. You can move the chin wherever you want. You can relax that right arm. Good, and now let's take the hand down to the side of the head where it's leaning and just gently bring it up. Good, and then from here, just slowly turn the head to one side and back to center. And then to the other side, and try to relax the shoulders as you do this. And back to center. Good. Okay, now we're going to get our balls here, okay? And so what we're going to do, and I'm going to give you guys a few options. Mine are in the little mesh bag. And I'm going to find the area from that C7 that I talked about, that kind of bigger vertebrae. And I'm going to be placing the balls on either side. So they don't go on the bones of your vertebrae. They go, the spine would be in between them, okay? And you could do this against a wall. So you could stand. I'd have to put my hood on here and roll like this. So this will be less pressure against a wall, okay? If you're okay with more pressure, you could do that on the floor. So what I would do is kind of move some stuff out of the way. It can be tricky with your clothing sometimes to just get it so it doesn't get caught up. And I'm going to find a spot. You might want to put your hands behind your head like we did a moment ago. And at first, you might just need to find where the spot is that feels okay for you. Again, not on the bones, and you don't want any piercing pain like you're getting into any nerves. Okay, you just want to feel like, for me, I'm really tight in this area. So for me, it's like, ooh, that's a nice massage, like that kind of feeling, okay? And at first, I'm just putting my hands behind my head in case I want to move so my neck feels supported, but I'm rocking side to side a little bit, so I'm putting weight on one ball and then the other. The other thing you can do is slightly lift your hips off the floor and like almost like you're going to do a bridge. And then what I'm doing is I'm just rolling the balls a couple inches up and a couple inches down my back. Again, not on the bones. And if this feels so intense that you can't breathe well, that you can't have a yogic breath, the slow, calm breath, then it's too intense for you right now and it will be counterproductive. So if that's happening, you want to take your balls to the wall, okay? And this is all from this yoga tune-up There's a woman that developed this whole yoga tune-up program. Her name is Jill Miller, and she's awesome. And she developed all these props, and she would always say that, take your balls to the wall, okay? You don't want to be counterproductive. So I'm demonstrating that. What I have to do is step my feet away, and I've got the balls there, and it's so much less pressure doing it this way, okay? And now it's not intense at all, but I'm still feeling something. And I'm doing the same thing. Okay, we'll just do this for another couple minutes. We're not going to stay here for too long, or maybe a minute. If you don't have the balls, what you can be doing is lying on your back, letting your head go side to side. You can be doing what we did over the blocks a moment ago, or over a rolled up towel. Okay. So just take another 30 seconds. I really like the bridging variation for the floor. Whew. And you can even go further down, of course. And then you're going to come off of the balls and just pause. So you can be on the floor, just breathing in and breathing out. Good. Okay, we're going to do one more thing with the balls here. Okay, now this one, I find that most people have a little bit of a forward head, including myself. And so we need a blanket or maybe even two beneath the balls. Now, if you don't have balls for this one, you'll probably be doing this with your hand, a little self-massage with your hand. Okay, so that's an option. Let me show you with the balls first. What I'll do is I'll get my support, and then I'm going to put the balls on the curve of my neck. Same rule here. We're not putting the ball on your cervical spine. It's going on the muscles on either side with the gap where the vertebrae are. Okay, and so I'm going to put it there. And when you come down, when you do this, you want your head to feel like it's in neutral and that you're somewhat comfortable and nothing is too intense, right? For me, I've got so much tension on one side of my neck that I love this so much, but again, it's going to depend on how much pressure you like. I've got the blanket there, so it brings the ground up, so I'm getting pressure. If you feel like you're getting no pressure, you might need a second blanket. And then what I do is just gently nod my head. I make sure I can breathe calmly, and I also gently turn my head side to side, trying to really relax my jaw. Okay, so if you're on the floor with that and it's working for you, you just stay there. If it's not working for you, you can try this against the wall. Oh yeah, that works. It works against the wall too. You just have to slant your body so you get the pressure. Okay, so same thing. Or if you don't have balls, what you can do is sit in any position and take one of your hands around the back of your neck, and I'm just gently using my fingers on those muscles along the side of my spine, coming down. Can you breathe slowly as you do this? And then if you're doing this seated with your hand, you would switch to the other side. And if you're using the balls, you can always, I like to go to one side, so my weight is all on one ball, and then I slightly nod. And I do the same thing on the other side, again, making sure it's not too intense. And then when you're ready to come out, you can take away the balls and just take a moment there. Make sure When you check in right now, you'll know if you went too intense. Follow your breath in. Try an umbrella breath as you breathe in. And a long breath out. Good. Now we're going to come back to seated. So you can roll to your side if you've been on the floor. And sit again however you want to with your legs. And do one last neck thing, at least for this part of the sequence. Okay. Now this one, most of you have done this with me before. And it's a little tricky, or I don't know if it's tricky actually. maybe not. But what I'm going to do is I take one hand, it's my dominant hand, and I find my collarbone on one side. Right? And then I go right below it. And what I'm doing with that hand is I'm pulling down. So it's like I'm pulling down, like I'm pinning the muscles. Okay? I'm going to put my other hand on top to make it easier. And then I take my head and I lean my chin away, like diagonally away. So I start to feel the stretch here through the SCM muscle, that big ropey one here, but also through here, through the scalenes, okay? And maybe more through the scalenes, actually. And you can do this however you want. So really let your jaw be slack. You can tilt your chin wherever you feel like it's most beneficial. Try to feel your breath below your hands. Good. And then slowly release. Let's inhale, roll the shoulders up. And exhale, take them down your back. Good. And then hands to other side, finding the collarbone, pushing down. I've got my little speak mic here, so I can't really push on this side, but hopefully I'm not getting too muffled. And then you lean your head the other way, slacken your jaw, feel this stretch wherever it feels best to you. I'm feeling it on my scalenes, like these deeper neck muscles in the front side of the neck. All the way from the ear down. Good, and then slowly release. And inhale, roll the shoulders up. Exhale, take them down your back. And again. Okay. Now we're going to be on hands and knees. If it hurts you to put weight on your knees, a few of you are having knee problems, then what you can do this standing against a wall with your arms. What we're going to be doing is our retract of our shoulder blades and protract. Retract, so the shoulder blades pull together behind you and then they push forward. What they're not doing is elevating, right? So they're not doing that. They're just relaxed, going straight back, straight forward. So you can do this in any orientation. It's really good to help relieve neck tension because it strengthens these other muscles on the back to help support, okay? So I'm going to show it on hands and knees, but you could always do it on forearms and knees or against the wall. If you're doing it against the wall, your arms are straight just like this, but you're standing up, okay? And then let your neck relax. First thing, just let your neck relax, okay? And then inhale, try to retract, keeping the arms straight. Exhale, widen the shoulder blades, keeping the arms straight, and repeat. And keep reminding yourself, especially if you have chronic neck stuff, to relax your neck, relax your jaw. So sometimes I find that when you're really sore around that upper back connection to the neck, sometimes it's best just to leave it alone and stop doing things with arms in front of you if you can help it for a little while, like cutting in the kitchen or sewing, whatever it may be. and do more of those passive things like we did at the beginning, lying over stuff. And sometimes it's helpful to do some of this more active stuff. So you've got to see what works for you. Good. Okay, now we're going to just come into puppy dog pose, reaching arms forward, letting your head fall down between the arms. I like this one too for releasing that area around C7 for me, because again, it's opening up the shoulders. It's like taking everything back rather than flexing through the neck. Couple more breaths there. Good. And then slowly bringing your hands back by your head to come up, coming onto your feet. You can walk your hands back, and then when you get up onto your feet, just inhale, reach your arms up toward the ceiling, and exhale as you bring your arms out to the sides and down. Good. Now just standing on your feet, notice how you feel through your two legs, through your feet. And then let's take the feet a little bit wide and swing and twist. Just letting the arms flop around. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to the center now. Let's keep the feet wide and just some gentle side bends. So go very slowly, especially if your low back is tender, so you realize, you recognize how far you should be going down. And it's going to be based on your own body here. All right, and then coming up to the center, let's roll the hips around in a circle, like hula hoop hips. And you can have your knees bent or straight. There's no right way to do it. And then go the opposite way. Good. And then just come back to the center. We're going to roll around the perimeter of one of your feet. And so this is the one where you can look at it, right? But if your neck's been bothering you, maybe don't look at it, okay? It just depends on what makes your neck feel worse. But what you're trying to do is trace the whole perimeter of one of your feet on the floor. You know, make it touch the floor. And then go the opposite direction. Good. And then stand for a moment and notice. And then let's do the other side. And go the opposite direction. Good. And then standing on both feet, let's follow the breath in. Try to use a big wide umbrella breath in and bring your arms up. And let's palms together and exhale, long exhale. You can use Ujjayi breathing or breathing out through pursed lips down in front of your chest. And repeat. And one more time. And then just let your arms come down, staying with that smooth breath. We're going to get our chair seat and put it in front of us. Now, if your back is bothering you to hinge forward to the chair, to do this, if it feels like it's getting tired, then what I would do is either sit in this chair for this next one, or you can stand against the wall and do it without hinging. We're going to be doing wobbly cowboy, okay? And I'll show how to do it in the chair. But just if you can't lean forward, those are your options, okay? So you're going to inhale here, and then exhale, hinge to the seat of the chair. And then we bend the knees, but you'll notice when I bend my knees, what I'm doing is getting close enough to the chair so that I can tap my toes, right? The weight is in the heels. The knees are bent. I'm going to pull the toes off the floor. Relax your neck. Move your shoulder blades down away from your ears. And then start to roll onto the pinky edges of both feet like you're going bow-legged. And then roll on the big toe sides of both feet. You go knock-kneed. And repeat. Okay, knees stay bent, and you try to keep the toes lifting as you do this. Just activating and lifting the arches. Keep going and keep breathing. If it's in the chair, it's very gentle. It's just like this, but you're still doing something. Okay, and if against the wall, you can't see my feet, but I'm doing the same thing with my feet. Okay, good. So any of those options, a few more. Good, and then just come back to having your feet, all three corners of each foot on the floor, and step yourself back, downward facing dog. Let your neck relax, just stretch those arms out so you can kind of plant the palms on the chair seat and hold there and stretch away like you're being stretched in two directions, being pulled in both directions. And as you inhale, feeling your breath expand your rib cage. And exhale. And again. Good, and then slowly walk towards your chair. Inhale as you extend your spine forward. Exhale as you bend your knees, sitting like you're sitting in a chair. And then stand. All right. Inhale up. And exhale, arms out and down. So you guys, with the knee stuff going on lately, and both of you, it's kind of chronic and acute issues, right? When you're squatting recently, you want to just go less than 90 for now. Not forever, right? But just for now, less than 90, especially if you've got that swelling going on in your knee, or you've just been having a lot of pain with squatting. Okay, just want to keep you aware of that. And when you're squatting, so I'm looking at you guys right now that I can see, and do you see the difference? Let's try them both, okay? There's this kind of squat where your knees come forward. You see that? And it's not that that is bad, because you have to go downstairs and your knees got to be able to go forward over your toes, right? But that's not what we're going to do when we're in this acute pain, because that might cause more pain. So we're going to do the kind where the butt goes back. So we're using more of the back butt muscles and the hamstrings for this. You'll still feel it in the quads, but you're getting more in the back, okay? Whereas this, I definitely do these to rehab my knee. It builds the inner quad. but let's just stick with this right now. Okay, a couple more. I know I didn't even say we were doing it, did I? Let's exhale, go down, inhale up, just roll the shoulders. Exhale. So you're just kind of testing out. The reason I'm having you do this is you're seeing, like, how does it feel right now? How's my knee right now? And so you can be aware when you're squatting in your house, when you're just doing stuff, how you're doing it. Okay. Coming on up, just stand again and notice. Good. And then let's inhale and spread your arms way out. And exhale, we're going to give yourself a hug. Let's take the right arm on top of the left and wrap the arms around your sides. And I'm going to get a little closer. So for here, you can inhale and round your upper back a little bit. You can even let your chin come down if it feels good. Like you're breathing space into the upper back. And exhale. And it doesn't matter how far around your hands get. It's going to just depend on your body. Good. And then inhale, you can open it up again. And then let's exhale, take the left arm on top of the right. Same thing. And you can let your chin drop if it feels good. You're focusing on breathing into the upper back. And now let's inhale, open up again. And this time, we're going to cross the right on top of the left and just see if when you cross, if you bend the elbows like this, is that top one, the right one, hooked on top of the bottom one? A lot of people will be like this, and that's not going to do anything for you. So say this is you, and this hurts or something, or it's too much, then you're going to stick with the hug, okay? But if it hooks, can bring the arms up, and this is eagle arms. Okay, so you're hugging or you're doing eagle arms. And then can you relax your shoulders? See, my shoulders are up like this? Let's not do that. Let's relax them. Maybe you can bring the elbows up. Inhale, breathe into your upper back. You can exhale, relax your chin down if you want, or you could even take your chin to one, or your head to one side. Let's take 2 more breaths. Good, and then let's inhale, open up again. Good, and exhale. Now let's cross the left on top of the right. We're going to test it, right? And just see, do I get that hook? Or am I more like this? If so, hug, okay? Same thing here. You're breathing into the upper back. You can do what you want to with your neck. You might try to lift the elbows as long as that doesn't bring the shoulders up by the ears. And I love this one for upper back tension as well. Good, and then inhale, open the arms. And exhale, could you take the hands behind your back and interlace your fingers? And then just see, could you bend the elbows and put your knuckles around your sacrum area? And then try to squeeze the elbows toward one another. And inhale, roll the shoulder heads back as you do that. Yeah, you might feel a lot of tightness in here because most of us are tight right here. So just breathing. I mean, you can look up if it doesn't hurt the neck. You can engage your glutes. Relax your jaw if you can. And release. Good. Just let your arms hang. We're going to come either to use a wall if you have one handy, like mine's really handy, but you could also use the back side of your chair, okay? So either one, I'm going to show with the chair. So I think this will be okay for those with a tender low back today, but you're going to have to just decide on your own, of course, because we're not going to hinge very far forward, okay? What we're going to do is stand in front of the back of the chair. Inhale, stand tall. And I'm going to exhale, step my right leg forward. And I'm going to bend the knee. Now, this is a little tricky because you want to bend the knee so you get more work in the hip. But you want to turn the left hip toward the floor. Yeah, and scoot the right hip back. So you're bending the knee and the weight is in the heel. And I don't want to get any tension around my neck or my low back. So I'm relaxing my neck. My shoulder blades are away from my ears. I'm just looking down at the seat of my chair, and I already feel it in my right outer hip. That's what you're going for. And I'm just going to hold and breathe. Now, if you're not feeling it there, you might need to square your hip more, that left hip toward the floor. You might need to bend the right knee a little bit more, weight and heel, and scoot that right hip back. So building strength in the outer hip can help with a lot of knee issues. It just is good health for your low back. It's good health for your knee and for your feet, okay? Now keep going. Oh, good. Mine's really starting to fatigue now. If yours fatigues before mine and you need to come out, just come out, okay? And just be aware, again, the low back people, be aware that you're not getting into any tenderness. You could always be higher holding against the wall. Okay, and then stand. Good. Let's kind of shake it out a little bit. So anything where we can build this hip strength, and we do this a lot, building hip strength, in our therapeutic yoga. But we're just targeting these muscles right here, okay? All right, let's do the other side. So you inhale, stand in front of your wall or your chair, and then exhale, left leg is going to be your standing leg. You're going to bend the knee so the weight is in the heel, right? So not like this, right? The weight's in the heel, and then lift the back leg and only hinge as much as feels okay on your low back, and where you can relax your neck, right? Turn that right hip to face the floor. So this might seem really simple because, there's not much to the pose, but then there's all these refinements, right? And then it does a lot of work standing on one leg, okay? Keep breathing. And if you have injuries, ankle, knee, and you can't hold yourself up on one side, you might need to put the toe on the floor. That's okay. Right? Just keep working it, right? Come out whenever you need to. Try to keep your jaw relaxed and all these neck muscles at ease. Good, and then slowly coming up. Good. Standing on 2 feet, just noticing for a moment. Following your breath in and out. All right, I'm trying to decide the variation of this next one I want to do, so just give me a moment here. We can try it like that, or we could try it, I think, like this. Okay, so what I've done is I've turned my chair sideways. And then it actually doesn't even need to be sideways for this. I just think it might be helpful to have your hand on the back of it. And then I'm going to put one foot up there. Okay, so just join me whenever you're ready. And inhale, stand tall. And then exhale. What I'm going to do is control with my hand on the chair how far I lean forward. So knee people, this is my healthy knee. So I can bend the knee and come down like this without pain, and I'm getting a stretch through here. If you're like, no, that does not feel good, instead, what you do is you don't bend the knee, and you stay more like a big lunge on the chair. Okay, that's the difference, and you'll be able to see it on my second side, I think. So you're trying to feel your stretch through here. Tucking the tail forward will give that more. Couple more breaths. And then slowly you can push into the chair to help you come out and step out. Good. Second side. Inhale. Exhale, other foot up. Now, this is my torn meniscus side, and So what I'm doing is I'm backing up that back leg and I'm keeping it straight to start. And I'm finding a stretch in my hip flexor by engaging my back glute. I'm not getting it in my quad, I'm getting it mostly in my hip flexor. I'm going to test the waters and try to bend this back knee and see if I can tolerate it. Yes, I can. I have no pain. So you see how I did that? I just went really slow. Is this safe? Is this safe? And I'm okay. Yeah. I find that if I have my foot further back, it's not putting as much tension and I have no pain. And I'm getting a little more into my quad. Good. Breathing. Important when you have these injuries, whether they're chronic or acute, is that you avoid things that cause pain. It might sound like a no-brainer, but we've got this mentality like no pain, no gain, right? So you don't want to do anything that increases your pain. It's really important because then otherwise your brain will send pain sooner next time. Because it's like, your brain doesn't have its separate personality or anything, but your brain, the way it works is that if you're not going to listen to its cues, it needs to send them sooner, right? Okay, coming out when you're ready. Notice how it feels now. Shake them out a little bit, wiggle it out. We're not going to do any deep quad stretching just because you guys do have some acute stuff going on in the knees, and we would need various other things, maybe tables and straps to do that. But I do want to demonstrate, and maybe while I'm doing this, what you could be doing is you could have your legs wide and either hands on the chair or not, and just kind of some inner thigh movement, okay? And I'll show you what you can do with a roller if you happen to have one, and you can do this later. This is great for the knee stuff. And that is, and you can always pause with both legs too and just hinge, is I'm rolling my quad, right? I'm going up and down. I've got most of my weight on one of my legs, even though both my feet are on the floor. And I find like a clunky spot in there. Ooh, there's one. And when I find the clunky spot, I bend and straighten my leg. Oh, does that feel good? You can even do this on a rolled up blanket if you just want to do it today and you don't have a roller. And I'm propping myself up with my forearms. I'm going to be really careful that I don't get into my neck, since that's where I tend to hold tension, that wherever you do. And then I could find another clunky spot. Ooh, it could be on the inner quad, could be more on the lateral or right down the center. And you can also do right above the kneecap. Okay, and then once you do one side, you can go to the other and put most of your weight on the other quad. Okay, and same thing, when you find a clunky spot, you bend the knee so the foot comes toward the ceiling and you straighten it. Okay, try to relax the neck. Now you guys that don't have a roller and you're stretching your inner thighs, you might just want to come still. Your hands could come onto the chair or the floor, and you could even fold forward with your legs wide and just let your neck relax. Everybody focus on breathing and lengthening your exhale. So your breath can give you information on, how intense what you're doing is, or you might just be habitually holding your breath, and by keeping breathing, you'll tell your brain that it can relax. Okay, it goes both ways, that information system. Good. All right, so as you're ready, let's let go of that. If you're on the roller, you can just set it to the side and stay on the floor. If you're with the chair, you can just slowly come down and join us on the floor. We're going to come onto our backs. You could have your head and neck support. And I know I didn't leave that much time for all the low back stuff that I wanted to. So you can always go back to the library, and there are so many short and long low back sequences to really help. But let's get some done right now. Okay, so first, just feeling your low back on the floor, or away from the floor. Got that little curve there. Inhale. Exhale, let's just bring your right knee in and give it a squeeze above or below the knee. Good. Now you could straighten your left leg out, or you could keep it bent. Good. Now explore here, everybody. You can make circles with the knee, right? Move the hip around. You could come into a knee down twist, coming in and out, drawing the knee across your body and bringing it back. So I'm trying to encourage you to feel, what does your hip and low back need right now? What would feel the best? And maybe it's something different, and you can do that too. One of my favorite, when my low back gets tight, and this is true for around the sacrum as well, it's just this twisting, but it's not for everybody. It kind of depends on what's going on and what side of your back it's on. And then when you're ready, of course, you could always stretch the leg up. We didn't do a lot of hamstring stuff today. You could always reach that leg up for a few breaths with the other leg bent or straight. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, feeling your belly rise on the inhale and letting it fall back on the exhale. And when you're ready, let's do the second side, okay? So you can just take an inhale, knees bent or straight, and exhale, bring the left knee in and start exploring, okay? Do you want to circle? Do you want to come in and out of a twist or something else? Kind of keep your jaw soft, keeping your tongue soft. Good, and whenever you're ready, you could stretch it up if you want to. Or if there's something else that your body needs, feel free to do that. Finding some relaxing breaths. And then finding a resting pose when you're ready. And I'll encourage all of you, to go back through the library, and there are several knee and sequences, short and long, self-massage sequences, neck, all sorts of stuff in there. So you can try the different routines and just see what's helping you and come up with what works for you, even if you just have a few minutes a day. Okay, so when you find a resting spot, taking a couple sighs. And let's just take 2 minutes to try to release as much as you can to gravity. Even like your eyes softening, your forehead. softening your jaw. And if you'd like to, you could take your hands, one or both hands, to anywhere. So it might be like your belly or your chest. For me, I wanted to go to my forehead. And feeling your own self-contact here. And you can either let go and stay here longer, letting yourself go into more of a deep rest, or you can start to move and come out whenever you're ready. Thanks for joining me today.